Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thanks for spending some time with us. This is a Fox News alert. Tish is in trouble. The New York Attorney General was just indicted. We're going to have more on that in moments. But first, it does feel like Christmas in October, does it not? Celebrations continued across the Middle East over the historic peace agreement between Israel and Hamas. And at the White House, Team Trump took a much-deserved victory lap.
We settled 7 wars, or major conflicts, but wars. And this is number 8. I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace. Peace in the Middle East.
Let's face it, only Donald Trump, with his relentless pursuit of peace and his team's outside-the-box thinking, could have gotten it done.
Remember, a month ago, no one thought this was possible. You convened a historic meeting, not simply of Arab countries, but of Muslim-majority countries from around the world, including Indonesia was there, Pakistan was there, and created this coalition behind this plan. The president had some extraordinary phone calls and meetings that required a high degree of intensity and commitment, and made this happen.
This was a team effort, and the president, as any great coach would do, spread the credit around.
We did, as a group, with Steve and Jared and Marco and me and all of us. We got the hostages back. We got many of them back. JD, you were fantastic, and Pete, you were great. Susie, I want to thank you very much. CIA, John Ratcliffe, and he's done an incredible job. So I want to thank you all, and if I'm missing anybody, I apologize, but you've been amazing.
I want to thank the Academy. Well, since he was sworn into office, Trump never lost sight of the human cost of this conflict, the suffering on both sides, especially of the families of the hostages.
The first thing we're doing is getting our hostages back, okay? And that's what people wanted more than anything else. They wanted these hostages back that have lived in hell like nobody has ever even dreamt possible.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was with some of the families last night.
President Trump, you have the best crowd in the world. What do you guys have to say to President Trump?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did it.
Wow. You did it.
Wow.
Thank you.
This is amazing. Mr. President, we believe in you and we trust you'll fulfill the mission until every hostage, every 48 of the hostages are home. Thank you so much. Blessed be the peacemakers.
The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
All of them.
And typical Trump, he's already focused on phase 2.
What is phase 2? When does it
I'm not
begin?
going to talk about that because you sort of know what phase 2 is, but there will be disarming, there will be pullbacks, there will be a lot of things that are happening. You can't live right now in Gaza. The place is it's a horrible situation. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. So yeah, we're going to create better conditions for people.
That's an ambitious goal. And the president says, don't worry, he's not getting us into the Bush-era nation-building business. This is about securing a lasting peace, which will be better for America in the long run. Look, let's face it, Trump keeps winning. By getting this deal done, he proved not just the skeptics abroad wrong, but the chorus of naysayers here as well.
The two-state solution is the only way to achieve a just and lasting peace.
Joe Biden is fighting for a peace in the Middle East, is fighting to end the hostilities between Israel and Gaza. It's Joe Biden that's standing for peace and a lasting peace at that. And it's the Republicans that, frankly, would stoke the flames of war in the Middle East.
We're going through that kind of crisis, I think, now in the Middle East. There are a lot of decisions that have to be made. I don't think Trump is capable of making the decisions.
Oh, I was hoping my staff found that soundbite. I love it, John Bolton. Eat your words. Now, all of those seasoned pros in diplomacy and foreign affairs, they spent decades bungling things in the Middle East. But Trump assembled a group of really smart people who figured it out. Now, what they might have lacked in foreign policy experience, they made up for in drive and common sense. I kept thinking this all day long. Isn't it a relief after 4 long years of Antony Blinken and the auto pen to have a president capable of great things with the dream team hammering out all the deal points?
Obviously, the President of the United States a New York real estate billionaire, one of the most famous New Yorkers in the world, has a lot of interaction with a lot of people who are very pro-Israel. I think that was an important set of experiences and life experiences that he brought to the table. He also, of course, knew one of the most famous Palestinians in the world, Chuck Schumer. And I think without that background of knowledge, it would have been impossible to get us to this.
Okay, I love that moment because it's nice to see a cabinet laughing with the president, not at him. So this was just such a monumental accomplishment that even the president's most vicious, venal critics had to admit, yeah, this deal was big.
Joe Biden could never do that. And Donald Trump was able to do it, did it at the decisive moment when he said, essentially, this war must end, and Israel cannot annex the West Bank, which many right-wing Israelis wanted.
It is a remarkable achievement. He has done this through diplomacy, pressure, and the sheer force of his personality and persistence.
Even if someone with whom you disagree about 99 things does the 100 really well, you should say so. And so all credit to President Trump.
Hell has frozen over. Now, as for the few diehard Trump haters claiming that he did this just to get the Nobel Peace Prize, just stop. You're so embarrassing yourselves. With so many lives on the line for so long, Trump has bragging rights, period.
Nobody in history has solved 8 wars in a period of 9 months. And I've stopped 8 wars, so that's never happened before. But they'll have to do what they do. Whatever they do is fine. I know this. I didn't do it for that. I did it because I saved a lot of lives.
Remember the whisper that changed the world? Bush heard war. Trump heard peace. And the world's celebrating. Trump decided to get in on the party, too. He gave Israel a ring and said, your families are coming home.
Mr. President, we believe in you. We know you've done so much for us over the past, since you became a president.
God bless you, Mr. President. God bless America.
Thank you very much. You just take care of yourselves. The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
All of them. Donald Trump spent all night in the Oval Office, putting the finishing touches on the Israeli-Palestinian peace deal. He walked into his quarterly cabinet meeting, and it was all love.
I don't know if one day perhaps the entire story will be told about the events of yesterday, but suffice it to say, it's not an exaggeration that none of it would have been possible without the President of the United States being involved.
Next week, the last remaining hostages will return to Israel and be reunited with their families.
At some point very soon, we are going to see 20 living human beings emerge from the darkness into the light for the first time in 2 years. I think it will go down as a historic moment in the history of our country, and something our country should be very proud of, that we have a president that's committed to not just peace, but to the human aspect of reuniting these families.
The front page of the Jerusalem Post, he's bringing them home. Lives will always be more important than land. You can get land back, but you can't get lives back. And guess what day tomorrow is? Nobel Peace Prize Day. And Trump hasn't been thinking about it at all.
I know this, that nobody in history has solved 8 wars in a period of 9 months. And I've stopped 8 wars. So that's never happened before. But they'll have to do what they do. Whatever they do is fine. I know this. I didn't do it for that. I did it because I saved a lot of lives.
Trump's not being selfish. If he can't get the Nobel, he'll settle for a one-way ticket to heaven. But that Nobel would look nice next to his multiple club championships at Mar-a-Lago. Or in the Oval, the gold matches the trim. Trump's not the only one who thinks he deserves it. Israel says, stop the count.
A grateful nation thanks President Trump for the return of the hostages, for the peace he has brought to the region. I call on the Nobel Committee to award President Trump the Nobel Peace Prize.
The Jewish farmers like that idea, too. In the field, they carved Nobel for Trump. Even Democrats are saying it's too big to rig.
I think the whole point of having a Nobel Peace Prize is for ending wars and promoting peace. And if he brings the Ukrainian war to its end, I'll be the Democrat leading the committee.
Every Democrat should be celebrating, right? Rashida Tlaib used to spend weekends banging pots and pans outside of the Capitol, screaming, "Free Gaza." Well, Trump just freed Gaza. And what did Tlaib say? Nothing. Not a tweet, not a press release, nothing. Makes you wonder if she really wanted to free Gaza at all. Maybe she was more into the Intifada. Even the media is saying Trump pulled off the deal of the century.
Make no mistake, it looks like President Trump has actually pulled off something here that many presidents before him have failed to do.
It is a remarkable achievement, and President Trump most certainly deserves credit for his role. He has done this through diplomacy, pressure, and the sheer force of his personality and persistence.
There's no way that I can see that this would have been done without Trump's pressure in the final hours.
Biden couldn't pull this off because he had a nasty relationship with the Saudi prince. And after October 7th, didn't give Netanyahu enough room for revenge. Trump's first visit this term was to the Arab states, announcing a bonanza of billion-dollar deals. Then Trump joined Israel's attack on Iran, bunker busters. And then he said, all right, you two, knock it off, but still let Bibi have a free hand in Gaza. And then the prime minister miscalculated. He launched airstrikes against Hamas negotiators in Qatar. Qatar's an ally, a business partner. We have bases there. The Arab world was humiliated, and Trump was shocked. He summoned Netanyahu into the Oval, handed him a phone, and made him call Qatar and apologize in front of the cameras. Some said it looked like a hostage video. Afterwards, Trump put out a 20-point peace plan and told Bibi, sign it or American support for Israel's done. When the Israelis were still trying to nitpick parts of the deal, Trump said, stop looking for loopholes. Netanyahu countered, how do we know Hamas isn't just bluffing? Trump said, why are you being so effing negative? And he told Hamas, sign it or I'm letting Netanyahu off the leash. That means 72 virgins by New Year's. Historians are saying Bush, the elder, thought this was impossible.
I said, this is a man who spent decades dealing with this. I said, Mr. President, do you think this ever gets resolved? And he said, God, I don't know. That's what one of the most experienced diplomatic presidents in American history thought, is that it was an unknowable thing.
Why couldn't career diplomats get this done? Kerry, Hillary, Blinken. We were told Biden was a foreign policy savant. And now Democrats are asking, what happened?
Why do you think that this was not doable when President Biden was in office?
I think the biggest problem that the President Biden had is there was no pressure from Qatar, from Turkey, from Egypt.
But I think by saying that, it's sort of an acknowledgement Trump has changed that dynamic.
The Middle East didn't respect Biden. It's never a good idea to tell the Arabs, you're swearing off oil and going green, and then come calling back to the kingdom begging for more oil from a guy you called a killer. Leaving Afghanistan didn't help very much either. Trump was a lot different.
Obviously, the President of the United States, a New York real estate billionaire, one of the most famous New Yorkers in the world, has a lot of interaction with a lot of people who are very pro-Israel. I think that was an important set of experiences and life experiences that he brought to the table. He also, of course, knew one of the most famous Palestinians in the world, Chuck Schumer, and I think without that background...
With the help of Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and of course Donald Trump, all New York real estate developers put pressure on both sides and got them to sign on the dotted line. Personal diplomacy, business investments, and deterrence, a.k.a. Operation Midnight Hammer, convinced all the parties to listen and follow 47's lead because they trusted him, and most importantly, they respected him. When Biden said don't, everyone did. But with Donald Trump, when he says don't, then you don't. And now that's the rule even for Israel. The world was used to the Obama-Biden way of doing things. They just throw money at the problem. And when they didn't get results, they just throw more money. Trump's always been about making money, not giving it away.
Gaza is going to be slowly redone. You have tremendous wealth in that part of the world by certain countries, and just a small part of that, what they make will do wonders for Gaza.
With the hostages freed and when the fighting stops, fingers crossed, an alliance between Israel and Saudi Arabia can finally gel, and the Abraham Accords can spread. The crippling of the Iranian nuclear program made that possible. That means we can pivot to the Pacific and back into the Western Hemisphere if the Middle East can make money, not war. We spend our money on America, not light it on fire policing a troubled desert. And who knows? Maybe we'll build a Trump Tower in Gaza overlooking the Mediterranean. The views are astonishing. Not a bad place to hang the Nobel.
So I wish I'd give it to him so we could stop talking about it, because it is so obnoxious that he thinks he should get it.
Why can't we talk about the Nobel? Obama got one. That was a DEI prize. Even he admitted he didn't earn it.
Obama got a prize. He didn't even know what he got. He got elected, and they gave it to Obama for doing absolutely nothing but destroying our country. No, he was not a good president. The worst president was Sleepy Joe Biden, but Obama was not a good president.
Trump stopped 8 wars since January. 8. A guy who stops wars, do you call him Hitler? How do Democrats feel now, trying to arrest the man who made peace in the Middle East? With all this success, maybe we should let him run for a 3rd term.
Welcome to Hannity, and we begin tonight with a Fox News alert. New York Attorney General and devout Trump hater Letitia James once proudly stated, quote, "No individual, organization, entity, or elected official is above the law, period." Today, those words finally rang true. Just hours ago, New York's top law enforcement official was in fact indicted by a grand jury in Virginia on bank fraud charges. Now remember, she ran on a platform. She's going to get Trump, go after one man, one family, one organization. And then, once elected, she cooked up a wild civil case against the president, asking a New York judge to penalize Trump for supposedly, interestingly enough, overvaluing his Florida mansion, Mar-a-Lago, on a fully paid off bank loan. Everyone got paid back. And by the way, she went with an $18 million valuation, and it's closer to $1 billion, $1.5 billion. But according to federal prosecutors, it was James who was committing mortgage fraud herself in 23. In order to secure a better loan and better loan terms on a second property, we're going to give you all the details coming up. Greg Jarrett, Jonathan Turley, they will break all this down tonight. But we begin with peace in the Middle East, all thanks to a groundbreaking peace deal from the White House. Now, this deal is so major, so historic, that even the left-wing legacy media mob, they are even praising President Trump tonight. According to MSDNC, Democrats, well, they could not have even dreamed of accomplishing this under Joe Biden. Take a look.
The deal that President Trump is announcing played a key part in negotiating is a significant change. This war was blocked for 2 years. President Biden, who preceded him, was unable to find a way to stop it. President Trump found that way by being tough on both sides. And he'll take a victory lap for sure over the next few days, but it's deserved. There's no way that I can see that this would have been done without Trump's pressure in the final hours.
Now think of that. That was on MSDNC, a network dedicated to smearing, slandering Trump for an entire decade, peddling lies and conspiracy theories one after another. That's not all. So-called journalist Martha Raddatz, who literally wept on air when Donald Trump won. Even now, she is singing his praises on ABC Disney. Take a look.
There's no question that if this goes as planned, if we see those remaining hostages freed and Israel begin its withdrawal, it is a remarkable achievement, and President Trump most certainly deserves credit for his role. He has done this through diplomacy, pressure, and the sheer force of his personality and persistence. He dispatched diplomats again and again, made threats just in the last few days to Hamas, saying again if they did not sign the deal, all hell would break loose. And they had the bombing of Iran as an example of that. But perhaps most importantly, he pushed Benjamin Netanyahu in ways his predecessor and others have not.
All right, let's be very clear tonight. We're not cherry-picking clips. On every single network, there was wall-to-wall praise for President Trump. Take a look.
Yeah, I just need to underscore what an enormous moment this is for so many people in this region, for the people of Gaza who have endured 2 years of war, for the families of these 48 remaining hostages who have endured 2 years of absolute agony. This is a watershed moment. President Trump announcing that the first phase of this plan will indeed move forward.
And it's a momentous day. There's not much good news in the world. This is great news. I am trying to hold it together, honestly.
Make no mistake, it looks like President Trump has actually pulled off something here that many presidents before him have failed to do.
We've heard it again and again from a number of people today, really giving credit to President Trump for getting this deal over the finish line. What are you hearing from your sources with regard to President Trump's role in getting both parties to sign off on at least the first phase of this peace plan?
Well, certainly this is an enormous moment for the world, but also for this administration.
I think this is news to celebrate. This is a huge accomplishment by the Trump administration.
This is a major breakthrough and a huge accomplishment for the president. After months of deadlock, the hostages set to finally come home.
Let's see how long it takes for them to get back to, let's see, racist, fascist, Nazi, democracy in peril. Now, at the beginning of his second term, President Trump vowed that success would be his greatest revenge. He was telling the truth. Now, the peace deal will go down in history as a turning point in the entire Middle East, and it was President Trump. He did make it happen through the sheer force of his will. And now take a look at your screen. He's bringing them home. All the hostages will be returned. And meanwhile, U.S. personnel already stationed at Central Command will monitor the peace agreement in coordination with other international forces that are on the ground. It's amazing news that even, well, fake news CNN forced Trump-hating Congressman Dan Goldman to actually credit the president. Nice to see. Take a look.
Why do you think that this was not doable when President Biden was in office?
I think the biggest problem that the President Biden had is there was no pressure from Qatar, from Turkey, from Egypt. They were actually facilitating in many ways what was going on. And that is really ultimately how it all came together.
So, I mean, but I think by saying that, it's sort of an acknowledgement Trump has changed that dynamic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think
absolutely.
that.
I mean, he's clearly.
I don't know how he,
changed
you know, and I think there's a lot that remains to learn about what prompted that change. But I do agree, yes, somehow, some way that changed.
I don't think Biden can have a conversation longer than 5 seconds. Anyway, unfortunately, most Democrats still don't have the courage to give Trump any credit. Obama, Schumer, others released disjointed statements praising the peace and the deal without mentioning President Trump. As if what? It appeared out of thin air? Also, shocking silence from so many squad members who have been loudly screaming of late the war needed to stop. You would think they'd be happy today. And tonight, on another front, congressional Democrats, they are continuing to play petty politics with no end in sight, shutting down our government to appease their radical base. Schumer declaring that during the shutdown, quote, every day gets better for us. Well, I wonder if Americans and our military not getting their paychecks feel the exact same way, Chuck. Now, of course, no one is buying the Democrats' terrible messaging. This morning, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called out to his face on CNBC. Take a look.
There was an election, and the Republicans were put in a position where they were able to pass the big, beautiful bill, or you call it the big, ugly bill. To then say, we don't like any of that, so we're going to shut down the government until you take back all the things that you duly passed through legislation. If Republicans had tried to do that to the Inflation Reduction Act or the any of the acts that Biden and that administration have passed, if they said we're going to shut down the government because we don't like any of those things you did, we're going to not pay our military, we're going to, not allow the government to reopen until you do what we want. After an election where the American people put Democrats in power, you'd be going crazy.
Take a look at the contrast. Democrats, they are busy blocking a clean, continuing resolution that would simply fund the government at current levels in order, what? To fight for free health care for illegals and refund PBS, NPR. At the same time, Donald Trump has been very busy putting together an unprecedented Middle peace deal that will save countless lives and hopefully alter the course of human history in that region and around the world. This is a moment of vindication for the president, but more importantly, it will make the entire world a better, a safer place.
So something's off with today's Democrats. Take Katie Porter, who's running for governor of California. She's the left's latest ray of sunshine. And like the sun, looking directly at her will damage your eyes.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of, so you don't think
I feel
you
like
need
this
to
is
vote.
unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
It's no surprise she freaked when she heard 40%, since that's her level of body fat. Then there's this recently surfaced nugget.
To air pollution and other problems, and the state could lose. Get out of my shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot.
Nice girl. Yeah. No wonder everyone who works for her ends up on a milk carton. If only she could retain staff the way she retains water. Then, wow. I know. There's left-wing streamer Hassan Piker, who's being accused of shocking his dog on a live stream.
It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just go, just stop.
I know. Let's see it one more time.
Yes. It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just go, just stop.
So what did he just do to that dog? And for what? Just standing up? And that's the Democrats' new model for liberal male masculinity? A guy who treats his dog the way Hunter Biden treats his penis? I mean, I don't know if he shocks his penis, but I'm assuming. Who wouldn't? If I had the options. And what of Greta, the left's favorite vegan Swedish meatball? She posted a photo of a starving Israeli hostage, claiming it was a starving Palestinian. But I guess they all look alike when you skip school for 15 years. Or maybe it's the brain damage you get when you replace a protein-rich diet with anti-Semitism. But at least her new haircut has Jews and Muslims both united in recommending a veil. Now, she's not a Yank, but she could be the face of the Democrat Party. Female, white, unhinged. I give her credit, though. She's the only hostage in history where the kidnappers kept sending her back. The list goes on. Chuck Schumer, he's still a grim ghoul who sleeps hanging upside down.
Trump and the Republican Party are hell-bent on taking health care away from 60 million people. It's a disgrace. So Democrats have 3 words for this. No way.
How fake is that? The only time Chuck says no effing way is when the 8 Cialis pills he guzzled won't work. And Jay Pritzker and Jerry Nadler, insufferable. But at least we know what happened to those fat twins on motorbikes. I always wanted to know what happened to them. And Akeem, as I call him, straight Obama. Looks like he's sleepwalking through a living nightmare. Then there's Schiff, Swalwell, Booker, 3 Dems who don't have one ball among them. And Brandon, Liz, and Tim, one's a buffoon, the other's a fake, and the other is stage 4 jazz hands. So it's obvious, it's not just the message, it's the manner. I mean, compare a campus pro-Hamas rally to a Turning Point event. On one hand, you have a misshapen mob. On the other, the cast of a hotter version of Melrose Place. Didn't the Dems once have some fun people? I mean, at least Bill Clinton looked like a good time. He was an inspiration to men everywhere who focused on banging ugly chicks. Today's Dems are different. They can't find their footing in reality. And true, the right has their oddballs, but here's the difference. They're fun. You know, Marjorie, Boebert, they at least look like they'd get drunk and shoot BBs at fat kids. And be honest, getting locked up by Kristi Noem is a top 10 role-playing fantasy. As long as it's not at a kennel. Hey, fair and balanced. But the Dems, they seem so, what's the word for it? Ugly. And that's because the mind and body are intertwined, and you can't be physically appealing if your mind is drowning in hate. Look at TDS sufferers before and after Trump. Their posture, hair, faces. Kathy Griffin alone can scare stripes off a zebra. That's the opportunity cost of Trump derangement. It drains all the energy, the humor, and joy from your life. That's why it's not a syndrome, it's an addiction. And what happens with an addict? They lose interest in everything but the drug. They stop bathing, they stop trying, the spouse leaves, the bills don't get paid, the friends disappear. In short, you're Keith Olbermann. The Dems are in desperate need of rehab. It's visible on their faces. They need help, but they need to ask for it first. Until then, all we can do is wait. And don't ever ask them to dog sit. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He moved from D.C. to a farm because he was looking for less manure. Co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, Charlie Hurd. She knows more about the old pigskin than Kermit the Frog. Host of Michelle Tavoya podcast. If it weren't for affirmative action, he'd get no action at all.
Wow.
Sherrod Small.
Wow. Not fair. Not fair.
And she may be bony, but she's never phony. New York Times bestselling author, Fox News contributor, Captain. Charlie, you're a happy guy, which is probably why you're kind of good looking. You're kind of like a thinking man's Dennis Weaver. You're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you agree with me that happiness and looks are intertwined?
And the idea that it's not a syndrome, that it's an addiction, I think is such a great point, because that is the problem. And the problem with these people is they have been told all their lives that they have the answers. Katie Porter is convinced that she has all the answers to everybody's problems. That's why they love big government. That's why they love control. Because they think they can solve all of your problems. And if you believe that, and you've been told that, you are a supremely arrogant person. And that's why these people will never, ever stop and acknowledge that they're wrong and that they need help.
Yeah.
They'll never get out of the addiction.
They also, when you said arrogant, she also believes that she doesn't need to persuade anybody. That's why she didn't like the follow-up questions. Wow. Yeah, thank you, Sherrod. You know, Michelle, I have never met an unattractive, happy person in my life.
You're right.
That was amazing silence. The entire audience is thinking, he's full of
Oh, yes.
But then you go to a strip club, there are all these hot chicks, but they're so miserable, it really makes it hard to have a lap dance.
Not impossible.
Not impossible.
Not impossible.
Not impossible.
Well, if Katie Porter thinks she has all the answers, why doesn't she want any follow-up questions?
Yeah.
That is a good question there. No, it's so true. They are arrogant. They're unhappy. I don't want to paint all Democrats with the same brush, but certainly the loudest ones with the biggest platforms seem to be grumpy and unhappy and arrogant. And for her to say no to follow-up questions, she has no place in public service. Also, I think she's a little overeducated. She went to Yale. She went to Harvard. She was mentored by Elizabeth Warren, who's a fraud. And she just thinks she's entitled to walk right in and be a politician. As for the guy who shocked his dog, I believe he has citizenship in Turkey as well as America. So you know what? And he said earlier in that tape that he effing hates America. I think that he should go to Turkey because we're not going to bend to his needs. But he needs to leave his dog here.
Shrod.
Yeah.
You saw the clip of Katie Porter. You'd still hook up with her.
I was still hit. I was still hit it, but that's not the point here, Greg. I'm still smashed. 3 a.m. at the bar, I'm still smashed. Let's not be too proud in here, crowd. But it's a bad look. It's a bad look for her because she's coming off real. Lord have mercy, lady. And when they said, like, the single mother running for governor, I was like, the dude must be like, I'm so happy I got out of there.
Yes, he did. Didn't she abuse him?
She threw hot potatoes on his head.
Yeah.
She
But you know
scalded
what?
his scalp.
At some relationships, at the beginning, you like certain things and you didn't stop liking it.
Yeah. At first, you mean, at first he liked the potatoes.
He liked the potatoes at first, and then it was like a famine. He was like, he ain't want no more. He turned full Irish. This crowd don't know history.
So, Kat, what do you make of this whole Hassan Piker? Do you think he'd shock the dog?
So he's denying that he actually shocked the dog. I, for one, think he's lying.
Yes.
For two, don't think that is that relevant. He's still an asshole either way. Because what kind of reaction is that to have to your dog standing?
Right.
Yes.
Like, I have a dog. Never once has he stood up and I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, what the... Actually, I actually would go so far as to say that I like that my dog can stand.
Yes.
It's a good thing that my dog can stand. And also, if I ever hear my dog make a sound like that, I am standing up to then go see if he's okay.
Yes. Yeah. He's a bad. I think this is a. You know, they say people that are cruel to animals are often serial killers.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying he's a serial killer. I'm not saying he's not a serial killer. I want America to decide, Kat.
Just doing that on a stream, like people are watching that. It's like, oh, when your dog stands, am I right? Like,
yeah, that's their that's your non-toxic masculinity for liberals. That's your non-toxic male, a guy who's mean to dogs.
But he's like, my mother spoiled the dog. It's like, dude, it's your mom's dog, and you look like you're in your mom's basement.
Yeah.
Who are you to shock anybody?
Yeah, exactly. I like to put those shocks on him. I don't really mean that, but
I do.
All right. All right, let's do it. Get him! All right, up next, Trump brings peace.
If you'll be in the New York area and would like tickets to see Gutfeld, go to foxnews.com/Gutfeld and click on the link to join our studio audience.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.